Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, where we get unlimited solace and relief from the complexities and confusions of this patch of time we're going through, where the whole planet is struggling to respond to this pandemic. And at the same time, our most beloved Bhakti Churu Swami Maharaj leaves this world, and the outpouring of love and devotion and remembrance of him is unprecedented, except for Srila Prabhupada when he left. And in a way it's even more intense because there's so many more devotees, so many more temples, so much more of ISKCON is developed in different ways. So in the midst of these unprecedented times, where we find true solace and deep, lasting, not just peace, but happiness, transcendental happiness, is right here with Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya, as Srila Bhakti Churu Swami Maharaj used to emphasize also, as I said last night when I read his foreword to the publication, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. This was one of his major themes of his preaching all the way through, how to put Srila Prabhupada in the center as the founder Acharya. And it begins from reading his books, just as distributing his books in the right mood, in the right way, begins with reading his books properly, in the right mood, and in the right way. So here we are together, doing what Srila Bhakti Churu Maharaj wanted us to do the most, for his pleasure. Hare Krishna. So the last 3 days have been very, very busy and very intense. So I'm again a little late. Don't mind. Please forgive me. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, glorified the Sri Caitanya-caritämrta in very special poetic language. He was lecturing in a town called Munjer, and an earth tremor caused a mild flooding of the adjacent Ganga. Water came up, but then it receded. And after this, Prabhupada said, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, in due course, Mahapralaya, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or, if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after it has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we reached chapter 14 of the Ädi-lilä of Sri Caitanya-caritämrta, chapter called Lord Chaitanya's Childhood Pastimes. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given a summary of this chapter in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. In the 14th chapter, there is a description of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoyed his childhood pastimes, crawling, crying, eating dirt, and giving intelligence to his mother, favoring a brahmana, guest, riding on the shoulders of two thieves, and misleading them to his own house, and on the plea of being diseased, taking prasadam in the house of Hiranya and Jagadish on the Ekadashi day. The chapter further describes how he displayed himself as a naughty boy, how when his mother fainted, he brought a coconut to her on his head, how he joked with girls of the same age on the banks of the Ganges, how he accepted worshipful paraphernalia from Srimati Lakshmi Devi, how he sat down on a garbage pit and instructed his mother in transcendental knowledge, how he left the pit on the order of his mother, and how he dealt with his father with full affection. Text 1. Caitanya-caritämrta yasmin dushkadam sukadam bhavet vismrite viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Purport. In his book Caitanya-caritämrta, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says, one who receives a little favor from the Lord becomes so exalted that he does not care for even liberation, which is sought after by many great scholars and philosophers. Similarly, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya considers residence in the heavenly planets a will-o'-the-wisp. He surpasses the perfection of mystic yoga power, because for him the senses are like snakes with broken fangs. A snake is very fearful and dangerous, is a very fearful and dangerous animal because of his poison fangs. But if these fangs are broken, the appearance of a snake is no cause for fear. The yoga principles are meant to control the senses, but there is no scope for the senses of one engaged in the service of the Lord to be dangerous like snakes. These are the gifts of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Hari Bhakti Vilas confirms that difficult things become easy to understand if one remembers Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and easy things become very difficult to understand if one forgets him. We actually see that even those who are very great scientists in the eyes of the general public cannot understand the simple idea, the very simple idea that life comes from life, because they do not have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They defend the false understanding that life comes from matter, although they cannot prove that this is a fact. Modern civilization, therefore, progressing on the basis of this false scientific theory, is simply creating problems to be solved by the so-called scientists. The author of Sri Caitanya-caritämrta takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to describe the pastimes of his appearance as a child, because one cannot write such transcendental literature by mental speculation. One who writes about the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be especially favored by the Lord. Simply by academic qualifications, it is not possible to write such literatures. Text 2. All glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Text 3. I have thus described in brief the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared as the son of Mother Shachi, exactly as Krishna appeared as the son of Mother Yashoda. Purport. Srila Narottam Das Thakur confirms this statement that now Lord Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, has appeared again as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, becoming the son of Mother Shachi. Brajendra Nandana se ye, Shachi Shutta Haila se, Balarama Haila Nitai. The son of Shachi is none other than the son of Mother Yashoda, and Nanda Maharaj and Nityananda Prabhu is the same. The son of Shachi is none other than the son of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and Nityananda Prabhu is the same, Balaram. Text 4. I have already briefly spoken about the pastimes of his birth in chronological order. Now I shall give a synopsis of his childhood pastimes. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the childhood pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna himself. Although such pastimes appear exactly like those of an ordinary child, they should be understood as various pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:11, this statement is confirmed as follows: Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanamashritam padam bhavamajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. To execute his pastimes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears on this planet or within this universe like an ordinary human being or human child. Yet he maintains his superiority as the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna appeared as a human child, but his uncommon activities, even in his childhood, like the killing of the demon Putana or the lifting of Govardhan Hill, were not the engagements of an ordinary child. Similarly, although the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, as they will be described in this chapter, appear like the activities of a small boy, they are uncommon pastimes, impossible for an ordinary human child to execute. Text 6. In his first childhood pastimes, the Lord turned upside down while lying on his bed, and thus he showed his parents the marks of his lotus feet. Purport. The word uttana, it is also used to mean lying down on the bed face upwards, or lying down flat on the bed. In some readings the word is uttana, which means standing up. In his childhood pastimes, the Lord tried to catch the wall and stand up, but as an ordinary child falls down, so the Lord also fell down and again took to lying on his bed. Text 7. When the Lord tried to walk in his small footprints, the specific marks of Lord Vishnu were visible. namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. Text 8. Seeing all these marks, neither his father nor his mother could understand whose footprints they were. Thus struck with wonder, they could not understand how those marks could be possible in their home. Text 9. Jagannath Mishra said, "Certainly child Krishna is with the Shalagram Shila. Taking his childhood form, he is playing within the room." Purport. When the form of the Lord is carved from wood, stone, or any other element, it is to be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there. Even logically, we can understand that all material elements are expansions of the energy of the Lord. Since the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is non-different from his personal body, the Lord is always present in his energy, and he manifests himself on account of the ardent desire of a devotee. Since the Lord is supremely powerful, it is logical that he can manifest himself in his energy. Deity worship or worship of the Shalagram Shila is not idol worship. The deity of the Lord in the house of a pure devotee can act exactly as he can in his original transcendental personality. Text 10. While Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra were talking, child Nimai woke up and began to cry, and Mother Shachi took him on her lap and allowed him to suck her breast. Text 11. While Mother Shachi was feeding the child from her breast, she saw on his lotus feet all the marks that were visible on the floor of the room, and she called for Jagannath Mishra. Text 12. When Jagannath Mishra saw the wonderful marks on the soles of his son, he became very joyful and privately called for Nilambara Chakravarti. Text 13. When Nilambara Chakravarti saw those marks, he smilingly said, "Formerly, I ascertained all this by astrological calculation and noted it in writing." Text 14. There are 32 bodily marks that symptomize a great personality, and I see all those marks on the body of this child. Text 15. There are 32 bodily symptoms of a great personality. 5 of his bodily parts are large, 5 fine, 7 reddish, 6 raised, 3 small, 3 broad, and 3 grave. Purport. The 5 large parts are the nose, arms, chin, eyes, and knees. The 5 fine parts are the skin, fingertips, teeth, hair on the body, and hair on the head. The 7 reddish parts are the eyes, soles, palms, palate, nails, and upper and lower lips. The 6 raised parts are the chest, shoulders, nails, nose, waist, and mouth. The 3 small parts are the neck, thighs, and male organ. The 3 broad parts are the waist, forehead, and chest. The 3 grave parts are the navel, voice, and existence. Altogether, these are the 32 symptoms of a great personality. This is a quotation from the Samudrika. Text 16. This baby has all the symptoms of Lord Narayana on his palms and soles. He will be able to deliver all the 3 worlds. Text 17. This child will preach the Vaishnava cult and deliver both his maternal and paternal families. Purport. Only Narayana himself, or his bona fide representative, can preach the cult of Vaishnavism or devotional service. When a Vaishnava is born, he delivers both his maternal and paternal families simultaneously. Text 18. I propose to perform a name-giving ceremony. We should observe a festival and call for the Brahmanas, because today is very auspicious. Purport. It is a Vedic principle to observe a festival in connection with Narayana and Brahmanas. Giving a child a particular name is among the purificatory processes known as Dasha Vida Sanskara. And on the day of such a ceremony, one should observe a festival by worshipping Narayana and distributing prasadam, chiefly among the Brahmanas. When Nilambara Chakrabarti, Shachimata, and Jagannath Mishra understood from the marks on the Lord's lotus feet that child Nimai was not an ordinary child, but an incarnation of Narayana, they decided that on that very same day, which was very auspicious, they should observe a festival for his name-giving ceremony. In this connection, we can particularly see how an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is ascertained by his bodily symptoms, his activities, and the prediction of the Shastras. By factual evidence, a person can be accepted as an incarnation of God, not whimsically, or by the votes of rascals and fools. There have been many imitation incarnations in Bengal since the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, but any impartial devotee or learned man can understand that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was accepted as an incarnation of Krishna not on the basis of popular votes, but by evidence from the Shastras and bona fide scholars. It was not ordinary men who accepted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the beginning, his identity was ascertained by learned scholars like Nilambara Chakrabarti, and later all his activities were confirmed by the 6 Goswamis, especially Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami, and many other learned scholars with evidence from the Shastra. An incarnation of God is such from the very beginning of his life. An incarnation of God is such by the very beginning of his life. From the very beginning of his life. It is not that by performing meditation one can become an incarnation of God all of a sudden. Such false incarnations are meant for fools and rascals, not sane men. 1 second. Text 19. In the future, this child will protect and maintain all the world. For this reason, he is to be called Vishwambar. Purport. The Chaitanya Bhagavat confirms that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his birth, has made the whole world peaceful. As in the past, Narayana protected this earth in his incarnation as Varaha. Because of his protecting and maintaining this world in the present Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Vishwambar, which refers to one who feeds the entire world. The movement inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was present 500 years ago is again being propagated all over the world. And factually, we are seeing its practical results. People are being saved, protected, and maintained by this Hare Krishna movement. Thousands of followers, especially Western youths, are taking part in this Hare Krishna movement, and how safe and happy they feel can be understood from the expressions of gratitude in their hundreds and thousands of letters. The name Vishwambar is also mentioned in the Atharva Veda Samhita 3.3.16.5. Vishwambara Vishwena Ma Barasa Pahi Swaha. Text 20. After hearing Nilambar Chakravarti's prediction, Shachimata and Jagannath Mishra observed the name-giving festival in great joy, inviting all the Brahmanas and their wives. Purport. It is the Vedic system to observe all kinds of festivals, including birthday festivals, marriage festivals, name-giving festivals, and festivals marking the beginning of education, by especially inviting Brahmanas. In every festival, the Brahmanas are to be fed first, and when the Brahmanas are pleased, they bless the festival by chanting Vedic mantras, or the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Text 21. After some days, the Lord began to crawl on his knees, and he caused various wonderful things to be seen. Purport. The Chaitanya Bhagavat describes that one day, while the Lord was crawling upon his knees, the bells on his waist ringing very sweetly, a snake came out to crawl in the yard of the Lord, who captured the snake like a curious child. Immediately, the snake coiled over him. The Lord, as the child, then rested on the snake, and after some time, the snake went away, leaving the Lord aside. Text 22. The Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the plea of his crying. And while they chanted, the Lord would smile. Purport. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, this pastime is described as follows. The Lord, with his beautiful eyes, would cry, but he would stop immediately upon hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When the ladies, understanding the fun of the Lord, discovered that he would cry and then stop upon hearing the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, they all took it as a clue to chant Hare Krishna as soon as the Lord cried. Thus it became a regular function. The Lord would cry, and the ladies would begin the chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, clapping their hands. In this way, all the ladies of the neighboring houses would assemble in the home of Shachimata to join in the Sankirtan movement 24 hours a day. As long as the ladies continued to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Lord would not cry, but would very pleasingly smile upon them. Text 23. After some days, the Lord began to move his legs and walk. He mixed with other children and exhibited various sports. 24. One day, while the Lord was enjoying his playful sports with the other little children, Mother Shachi brought a dish filled with fused rice and sweetmeats and asked the child to sit down and eat them. Text 25. But when she returned to her household duties, the child hid from his mother and began to eat dirt. 26. Seeing this, Mother Shachi hastily returned and exclaimed, "What is this? What is this?" She snatched the dirt from the hands of the Lord and inquired why he was eating it. 27. Crying, the child inquired from his mother, "Why are you angry? You have already given me dirt to eat. What is my fault?" Fused rice, sweetmeats, and all other eatables are but transformations of dirt. This is dirt, that is dirt. Please consider, what is the difference between them? 29. This body is a transformation of dirt, and the eatables are also a transformation of dirt. Please reflect upon this. You are blaming me without consideration. What can I say? This is an explanation of the Mayavad philosophy, which takes everything to be one. The necessities of the body, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, are all unnecessary in spiritual life. When one is elevated to the spiritual platform, there are no more bodily necessities. And in activities pertaining to the bodily necessities, there are no spiritual considerations. In other words, the more we eat, sleep, have sex, and try to defend ourselves, the more we engage in material activities. Unfortunately, Mayavadi philosophers consider devotional activities to be bodily activities. They cannot understand the simple explanation in the Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Anyone who engages in spiritual devotional service without motivation, rendering such service for the satisfaction of the Lord, is elevated immediately to the spiritual platform, and all his activities are spiritual. Brahmabhuyaya refers to Brahman, spiritual activities. Although Mayavadi philosophers are very eager to merge into the Brahman effulgence, they have no Brahman activities. To a certain extent, they recommend Brahman activities, which for them means engagement in studying the Vedanta and Sankhya philosophies. But their interpretations are but dry speculation. Lacking the varieties of spiritual activity, they cannot stay long on that platform of simply studying Vedanta or Sankhya philosophy. Life is meant for varieties of enjoyment. Shall I repeat that? Life is meant for varieties of enjoyment. The living entity is by nature full of an enjoying spirit, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.12. Anandamayo Vyasad. In devotional service, the activities are variegated and full of enjoyment. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9.2, all devotional activities are easy to perform, susukam, kartum, and are eternal and spiritual, avyayam. Since Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand this, they take it for granted that a devotee's activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc., are all material and are therefore Maya. They also consider Krishna's advent in this universe and his activities to be Maya. Therefore, because they consider everything Maya, they are known as Mayavadis. Actually, any activities performed favorably for the satisfaction of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master are spiritual. But for a person to disregard the order of the spiritual master and act by concoction, accepting his nonsensical activities to be spiritual, is Maya. One must achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Therefore, one must first please the spiritual master, and if he is pleased, then we should understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also pleased. But if the spiritual master is displeased by our actions, they are not spiritual. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadan nagati gatopi. Activities that please the spiritual master must be considered spiritual, and they should be accepted as satisfying to the Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as the supreme spiritual master, instructed his mother about the Mayavad philosophy by saying that the body is dirt and eatables are also dirt. He implied that everything is Maya. This is Mayavad philosophy. The philosophy of the Mayavadis is defective because it maintains that everything is Maya, but the nonsense that they speak. I'll repeat that. The philosophy of the Mayavadis is defective because it maintains that everything is Maya, but the nonsense they speak. While saying that everything is Maya, the Mayavadi philosopher loses the opportunity of devotional service, and therefore his life is doomed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised, Mayavadi Bhasha Shunile Haya Sarvanash. Ädi-lilä 6, 169. If one accepts the Mayavad philosophy, his advancement is doomed forever. That word forever means actually until he actually rejects the Mayavad philosophy and in public refutes it. Until then, his advancement is doomed forever. Text 30. Astonished that the child was speaking Mayavad philosophy, Mother Sachi replied, "Who has taught you this philosophical speculation that justifies eating dirt?" Purport. In the philosophical discourse between the mother and the son, when the son said that everything is one, as impersonalists say, the mother replied, "If everything is one, why do people in general not eat dirt, but eat the food grains produced from the dirt?" Text 31. Replying to the Mayavad idea of the child philosopher, Mother Sachi said, "My dear boy, if we eat earth transformed into grain, our body is nourished and it becomes strong. But if we eat dirt in its crude state, the body becomes diseased instead of nourished, and thus it is destroyed." Text 32. In a water pot, which is a transformation of dirt, I can bring water very easily. But if I pour water on a lump of dirt, the lump will soak up the water, and my labor would be useless. Purport. This simple philosophy, propounded by Shachimata, even though she is a woman, can defeat the Mayavadi philosophers who speculate on oneness. The defect of Mayavad philosophy is that one does not accept the variety that is useful for practical purposes. Shachimata gave the example that although an earthen pot and a lump of dirt are basically one, for practical purposes the water pot is useful, whereas the lump of dirt is useless. Sometimes scientists argue that matter and spirit are one, with no difference between them. Factually, in a higher sense, there is no difference between matter and spirit, but one should have the practical knowledge that matter, being an inferior state of existence, is useless for our spiritual, blissful life, whereas spirit, being a finer state, is full of bliss. In this connection, the Bhagavatam gives the example that dirt and fire are practically one and the same. From the earth grow trees, and from their wood come fire and smoke. Nevertheless, for heat we can utilize the fire, but not the earth, smoke, or wood. Therefore, for the ultimate realization of the goal of life, we are concerned with the fire of the spirit, not the dull wood or earth of matter. Text 33. The Lord replied to his mother, "Why did you conceal self-realization by not teaching me this practical philosophy in the beginning?" Mind you, he's just a little boy. Purport. If from the beginning of life one is taught the Vaishnava philosophy of duality or variety, the monistic philosophy will not bother him very much. In reality, everything is an emanation from the Supreme Source, janmadyasya yataha. The original energy is exhibited in varieties, exactly as the sunshine. The original energy emanating from the sun exhibits itself in variety as light and heat. One cannot say that light is heat or that heat is light, yet one cannot separate one from the other. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is achintya bheda bheda, inconceivable non-separation and distinction. Although there is an affinity between the two physical manifestations, light and heat, there is also a difference between them. Similarly, although the whole cosmic manifestation is the Lord's energy, the energy is nevertheless exhibited in varieties of manifestations. 35. Now that I can understand this philosophy, no more shall I eat dirt. Whenever I am hungry, I shall suck your breast and drink your breast milk. 35. After saying this, the Lord smiling slightly, climbed on the lap of his mother and sucked her breast. Thus, under various excuses, the Lord exhibited his opulences as much as possible in his childhood, and later, after exhibiting such opulences, he hid himself. Hare Krishna. We'll stop reading for tonight and wait for the nectarian reflections from the devotees to come pouring down on my head. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Mother Shachi ki jai.
One comment from Gopakanya Devidasi.
Gopakanya Devidasi. Hare Krishna.
She says, Jai Maharaj, thank you for your profound and loving offering to our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Churu Swami in ISKCON Desire Tree. Hare Krishna.
Well, you're entirely welcome. And like I said before, his godbrothers, all of us, are there for you. And we're praying for you, and we are there for you. So this is part of what I mean by continuing his thoughtful presentation of Krishna consciousness, and especially his attachment to Srila Prabhupada's books. I know by personal experience that he loved to read Srila Prabhupada's books with the devotees. And many times he would just read for long passages. And he would very deftly explain sometimes, especially in the Caitanya-caritämrta, there are sections where the verses themselves are commentaries to the verses before. And there'll be a number of points being made that are actually commentaries on a particular point or development of that thought. And he would point these things out to us so nicely. Anyway, I know that this is a very special time. I was looking at the I sent in my offering that I read yesterday night with the forward to the GBC publication, foundational document, Srila Prabhupada, founder of Charya ISKCON, which Bhakti Churu Maharaj wrote the forward to, and I actually put the whole forward, to let him speak for himself what he felt about ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. And it was very, very well received, I might add.
Gopakanya corrected and said, I mean on dandavats.com.
Oh, so you read it. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So
No.
it got there. Thank you very much.
And then Krishna Katha Prabhu posted the link for it also.
Oh, good. Yes, there's an outpouring from my godbrothers. In case you haven't read it, there's a very nice poem that was written by Burijan Prabhu, which will bring you to tears, actually. If I tried to read it to you, I'd probably come to tears. I wouldn't be able to read it. So I'll let you. It's there also, I think, posted. Actually, let me read it. This is really special. I just have to find it. Oh, I think I put it here. Just a second. Yes, here it is. This is His Grace Burijan Prabhu's beautiful poem on His Holiness Bhakti Churu Maharaj. Searching for solace. Inu Jain, you chose to paint as the cover of the book a picture of your heart. I almost asked him to confess. No words replied. He only sighed, a soft and thoughtful yes. A little boy in short pants is walked home by his father. Side by side, closely they walk. His father, a golden, glowing saint, holds tight his son's hand. The boy glances up and fears nothing. He is not alone on the path home. Yet the sun is setting, as it must. The boy will cry as he must, but he will walk on and will grow into his father's grown-up son, but never alone, holding tight that ever outstretched hand. And he did grow, and like his father also glowed, and loved his father's family, as did his father, and like his father, taught and shared and preached, showing culture and gentility, and caring for and serving all others with grace. Time passed. His body slowly aged, as it must, but inside he grew neither weary nor old, nor stuffy nor grumpy, nor angry nor cynical. His eyes never narrowed, his eyelids never drooped, but rather his dreams and heart expanded to the stars above. He remained always alive with a simple, warm innocence and childish glee. Always his father's son, always holding tight his father's hand, never alone. And now the sun is set again, as it must, at its ordained time. And although the world cries, dulls, dims, yet a great son of a great father, inside always small, but never alone, hand in hand with Prabhupada, has journeyed home. That's a reflection of the depth of feelings that we have for Bhakti Chiru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Comment from Radhananda Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Radhananda Devi Dasi.
She says, Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. The first verse of this chapter is just amazing for me. Thank you again and again, Guru Maharaj.
What was the first verse? Read it, please.
Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radhananda, for helping us to remember that.
And Gopakanya Devi Dasi says, Thank you, dear Maharaj. It's a great solace for me.
Hare Krishna.
Another comment from Devaki Nandan Devi Dasi.
Devaki Nandan Devi Dasi. Okay. Hare Krishna, Devaki Nandan Devi Dasi.
He says, I am so grateful for all of your reading. I saved them all. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Well, you can also, they're already saved on the YouTube channel and organized in a way to make them easy to find. That may save you some trouble of saving them. I don't know what you mean by saving them. Maybe you have a certain way, special way of saving them, but we very, very much appreciate that you appreciate and that are taking the trouble to save them, to be able to refer back to. Again, that's the whole purpose. It's my life, so you're giving me life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I discovered this open secret. It's not a secret at all. Actually, Prabhupada speaks about it all through his books. But because of the way we were trained, educated, especially in the West, when we think of read, we think of picking up a book, opening it up, and putting the words and the thoughts through our eyes into our mind. That's what we think of reading. But the reading really means hearing. There was a time during the development of our sampradaya, or the sampradaya system, parampara system, at which written notes were not allowed. And in fact, it was considered an offense to read the Vedas like regular reading. One had to hear them. One had to chant them and hear them. So I caught this idea when I started to read every day and start to write those offerings to Prabhupada every year, about how I saw very easily, very much how he wanted us to hear his books together out loud. because it goes in, it becomes alive. It's easier to keep the mind fixed, more difficult to go to sleep. Sometimes nowadays, because of our nature in the Kali Yuga, we pick up a book, we start to read it, we immediately doze off, we go to sleep. But it's more difficult when you're in a room full of devotees, or just reading to yourself out loud. If you read to yourself out loud carefully, you'll find that you won't go to sleep. And things that you would just normally pass through your eyes and you didn't understand, you'll get them. Tat Trinu, Krishna said to Arjuna. Tat Trinu, how now hear, O Arjuna. Okay, go ahead. Okay, with that we'll close our reading for tonight. And Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. See you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same station, same mood. Steady like a rock, like lines on stone, every day. Hare Krishna.